It's a piece of pure Cornwall, and somehow the atmosphere sums up perfectly this heartland of legend, so beloved of poets and painters over the years. It's a marvellously romantic asset to our tourist industry.
Chris in Cornwall. Heathrow's latest terminal is still a massive building site, as you can see, but already the big question is which airlines will use it. It seems likely that British Airways will switch its long-haul flights from Terminal 3, and some European airlines may move in too. But whoever uses it, this is the first terminal to have full security precautions built in.
Moving walkways will cut out all that endless foot slogging, and if you do have to walk, it'll be either on the level or downhill. You'll be able to take your trolley all the way from the car park or the tube station right up to the departure point, and people with wheelchairs won't have to negotiate steps. Our last report this week comes from Holland. Peter and Brenda Marshall, with their children Richard and Ruth, investigate a new kind of holiday centre. They travelled by car, making the 7-hour day crossing by ferry from Harwich to the Hook of Holland before heading for the De Eimhof Centre, 2 hours from the Hook, less than an hour from Amsterdam.
Welcome to the pleasure. The Great Indoors, an instant Caribbean where it's summer for 365 days a year. On the other side of the wall is Holland, but here the temperature stays at 80 degrees in what they call a subtropical swim paradise. It's the latest thing on the continent, a vast indoor fun bubble which forms the nucleus of the self-catering holiday complex. Most of the centres are in fact in Holland, and they attract 10% of the entire population each year. 2 hours by car from the Hook of Holland ferry port through typically low-profile Dutch countryside is De Eimhof. It's one of 4 similar centres now available to British holidaymakers on a package deal. Have you got the documentation? Hello.
Good morning.
Hello, we're the Marshall family. We've got a bungalow booked.
Yes. Bungalow number 139. That's your key.
First big relief, nearly all the staff speak English.
On the parking.
How do we get there?
You're going here over the bridge.
De Eimhof, the name means water garden, is built on land reclaimed from the Zuider Zee. Waterways meander through banks of trees, which act as leafy camouflage for 600 apartments and bungalows. Dotted along the waterside are small sandy beaches, fine for the bucket and spade brigade.
With family elbow room in mind, we opted for one of the more expensive bungalows, sleeping 6. There were 3 bedrooms, 1 with 2 bunk beds. The brick-walled lounge had an open fire and coloured television, and the fully equipped open kitchen included a 4-burner cooker, fridge and generous storage. There was plenty of space in the bathroom, with its separate loo.
A nice touch, a baby's chair, cot and playpen. But maybe this will come in more useful for us now, our own shopping trolley.
Hey, have you got enough bread?
Yeah.
Sliding doors opened onto the terrace, where we were immediately introduced to our greedy neighbours. Based on 2 adults travelling together, a week in one of these bungalows costs between £116 and £208 each, depending on season. You pay only £12 extra for children between 4 and 14. Prices include the Channel ferry crossing for car and passengers on any of 5 routes. All heating and lighting, but not bed linen or towels. As in the other centres, life revolves around the stately leisure dome. Just pop in your pass card and everything goes swimmingly. Artificial waves send bathers bobbing up and down like Atlantic surfers parted from their surfboards. Warm whirlpools foam and bubble, cauldrons of contentment. Definitely no overtaking, as children and grown-ups helter-skelter down the water chute to a succession of splashdowns. Others discover the easy way out. Through a flap and into an open-air pool on the other side of the Caribbean capsule. It's all included in the basic price, except the sauna and sun-gun treatment, where a £10 course will turn you as golden as a cornflake.
Shopping is no problem. The large on-site supermarket stocks just about everything, with prices the same or slightly below ours.
Can you tell me, how much is the minced beef?
13 gulden, 1 kilo.
Not that I was chained to the kitchen sink. There are 5 restaurants in the complex, including a French-style bistro, a pancake house, and a family cafeteria with open-air terrace. After dinner, the disco throbs and shudders, but the music stops dead at midnight, so everyone can have a good night's sleep.
The whole emphasis of the Eimhof is on families. What looks like Anne Hathaway's cottage is a well-supervised kindergarten. Cars are banned from the centre except on changeover days, so cyclists can swerve and wobble to their heart's content. Hiring a bike costs about £7 a week. It's the easiest way to explore the surrounding countryside. Every week there's an all-day fair in the main piazza, round-the-clock fun for the whole family. Although they provide an English language guide to the centre, we found that all the campsite notices were in Dutch only. Double Dutch to some of us, that's for sure.
But this year they did promise that all the notices would be in English as well.
With all that water around, it's no surprise that the Eimhof specialises in water sports. The centre has its own lakeside marina, and there's enough surfboarding, canoeing, water skiing, and sailing to satisfy a battalion of Bondi Beach lifeguards.
And then adjustable.
Sandy beaches are scattered along the lakeside on either side of the marina. Certainly not Bondi beaches, but big enough for these diggers. While I spent the afternoon sailing, the family took to the water in a more leisurely way. An excursion on a 100-year-old Dutch sailing barge across the lake to the 600-year-old fishing village of Spakenburg. You actually sail up the high street to the centre of the village. Spakenburg is like an antique Dutch painting come to life. The old wharf is a tangle of sails, lines and masts. The women still wear a strange, broad-shouldered regional costume. Canals are brushed by willows, and stalls sell raw herrings eaten in the traditional way, head first. Well, just time for a final coffee before we head for home. Although it's a little isolated, we've enjoyed the Eimhof.
Mainly because some of us are fairly active.
Ah, yes, but it might not be such a Dutch treat for anyone who doesn't enjoy the sporting life or who craves city centre entertainment. They do say, however, that indoor sporting complexes like these represent the holiday of the future. So, who knows, in a few years' time, you could have the Caribbean at the bottom of your road.
The Marshalls going Dutch at a holiday centre.
Well, next week, a family from Hampshire will be looking at a British holiday centre. Chris goes Greek island hopping, and I shall be flying off to Eilat in search of some winter sun.
Not from here, you won't, unless you flap your arms very hard.
Details of the holidays featured in this programme can be found on page 100.